Hello, everyone. This is Melina and
Jordan. What? Such a pause as you stood there staring. That's funny. All right.
Let's start over.
We were right at this.
Okay.
We're in this. We're not starting over.
Hello, guys.
Blooper
It's
reel.
us. Welcome back.
Hey, happy whatever day you're listening to.
Yeah.
Ah, how are you doing?
I was trying to think of what today actually was. That's where I'm at right now.
It happens.
Yeah. Okay.
Happens to us all.
I'm good. How are you?
Was that real?
Yeah.
Your voice went really high. That's awesome. I'm good. I'm actually a little bit hungry today.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You should be hungry every day.
Not every day. Just today. A little bit hungry.
All right.
My brain's been working because I don't know why.
Okay. Question.
It's always working.
What's been your song this week that like you've listened to and like wanted to listen to?
I haven't really had a song because I just play whatever plays. I guess the only song that I actually actively looked for was Not Like Us when I was at the gym.
Okay.
That's the only song that I actively listened for, looked for.
A minor.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Mine is me and our baby girls, me and Elias. Love me JJ, love me tender. That's been stuck in my head so much. Shout out to Tim's. We love you.
Yeah. She was in the car today going, "Love me tender." I was like, what?
I love it. Okay. Yeah, that song's
I was
been
like, okay, I'll put it on.
repeat. Anyways, that's fun. I love music. Okay,
Yes,
so
you do.
today we are talking about contingency contracts.
Yes, we are. Contingency
So-
contracts.
Go ahead and just dive right in.
Like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's funny. All right. So a contingency contract it's a fun way to, I think at least it's a fun way to help maintain or develop a new skill. So a contingency contract is basically a written document that you, just like a regular contract that you write that says that a client or an individual is going to complete X, Y, and Z task, and then they're going to get A, B, and C reward. That's basically it. It's a written documentation that you can have and you can track. I think they're awesome because there's a lot of kiddos that can graduate to this level of tracking and reinforcement, because there's a piece of it that's really important, and that is delayed reinforcement. They have to be able to handle delayed reinforcement for that contingency. So depending on where you are, you could call it a contingency contract or a behavior contract, but it's basically just a written document that says that X is going to get completed, Y is going to get delivered, and this is how we're going to track it.
And I love when they get to be a part of like making it. Like,
Yeah, that's so fun.
The best part is them being able to have a say in it all.
Yeah. I love that. Though sometimes their reinforcements are a little unrealistic.
Yes.
But we can usually work through that and try and create something that is a little bit closer to.
I'm like, do you know how much money I make?
Yeah. She's like, I want a trip to Disneyland. Now, is this before parents chip in?
Right.
After? Like, how does this work?
You're like, about my rent.
Just
kidding.
So anyways, but contingency contracts are fun. They can be complicated in the sense that it's a little bit of work to set up and then maintain them, because sometimes the reinforcements change and some things like that. But when you have kids or clients that you're able to work with this on, I think it's really fun because it just gets them involved a lot. And it's something that applies to our life really often. And so, we have had contingency contracts with each other before, which has been really fun. So do you want to share one of the ones that you've...
I'll share two.
Okay, go for it.
So I don't remember the exact details because I'm far removed now, but when I was studying for my exam, it was like every time, oh yeah, I do remember. Every time I'd reach my max hours for the month, then I would get a gift.
Yes, I had to get her a gift.
One time I got Lululemon shorts, haven't gotten them since.
Hasn't meet the contract since.
So it would vary. It'd be like a really good meal or like a gift or like a pair of something. I don't know. Shoes or something.
So, but that's the important thing about contingency contracts too. It has to tie in with somebody else. Somebody else has to provide the contingent
I didn't tell
reward.
you my current one.
Sorry, I was just providing an interruption because you actually said something that was really important because I delivered those gifts to you.
My bad. Which the next one too. That's why I was like, I still didn't tell you the second one. right now, because I'm like postpartum, it's like a balance of like trying to eat right so that like I can produce milk and also try to get, healthy and back to where I want to be weight wise, etc. So I feel like I've been doing, I've been tracking what I'm eating. Nothing excessive. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm like eating leaves and water and that's it. Like I'm eating sustenance, what my body needs. But it's like if I'm able to do that and do my little workouts for the day just to start getting, my body strong again, then on the weekends, Jordan makes me a yummy beverage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Comes down to me again.
Yes.
No.
Because you make them amazing.
Well, no, it's just I follow a recipe. But it's just that I'm involved in a contingency contract.
Like this.
If it's not with somebody else, that's when it starts leading into like self-management, self-evaluation and stuff like that, which also has a good part. We can do another episode on that at a later time. But when we do contingency contracts and when we work with them, when we work with parents are usually the ones that will have to fulfill the reinforcement aspects of it or the reward aspect to it and the tracking, because we only get kids or clients for a very short time of the day. And so it really comes to the stuff at work at home. So there are a few things that really go into that. One is resources. Do the parents, the family, the kid, do they have the resources to be able to handle a contingency contract?
That's amazing.
Or a behavior contract?
That's amazing, because that, I think, how do I say this in a way that doesn't sound... Basically, not every family has money. Let's start there. Okay.
Yeah,
so I feel like... Sorry, am I stealing your thunder?
No, because resources isn't limited to just money.
It's not, but I'm thinking about the clients that I've worked with where like more so like in the beginning of my career, I guess you could call it. Just like
a career.
Yeah.
You do it to make money. You have credentials in it. That is a career.
I know.
Probably by definition, if we pull up a thesaurus or something.
It feels like
Oxford Dictionary.
It feels imposterish to be like my career. But anyways.
You just want to stay young.
No, I don't know. Anyways, but I do think about like, a lot of people in like our community that can't necessarily afford the same things as like, I think about like myself as a kid, right? Like, I lived in a place where there were a lot of kids that had a lot of money. And so like thinking about report cards, it's like they'd get a B or an A and their parents would buy them like crazy stuff. Whereas like it's not the same. So like if you're going to present it, knowing your demographic, knowing what the family can afford, what they're willing to do, something really important to talk about like during parent consultation. So you kind of, again, like you were saying, know your limits and know what you have to work with, because...
Yeah. And then, and even then, I'll never tell a family that I'm working with that they have to buy something. Like I've never told a family like, you have to buy this.
Yeah.
I have suggested that it might be good for them to have reinforcers of some time, but I also go through and explain that reinforcers or rewards don't have to cost money. If you have to work, 19 hours a day because you are hustling your butt off to survive in a place like California, or that you are you have your own business and you have to just put in that number of hours, 5 minutes is worth like $1 bajillion to a kid. That is an amazing reinforcer right there. It doesn't cost you anything but time.
I have all these songs popping into my head right
now.
Please. My love don't cost a thing.
But anyways, away from songs. But that's the reward side of things, right? Like it doesn't have to be money. So I've never explained to parents that they have to do this. If they want to, amazing. If they want to create an allowance and stuff like that, cool. If they don't, that's also okay. Let's work with what we got. Because resources is time, it's money, it's energy. If you worked an 18-hour double shift and you're a nurse and you're like, I'm just dead at the end of the day, right? Yeah. Then that's what we're going to take. That's a resource constraint. That is what we are going to take in consideration. What is something you can do? In that case, it might be that you bring your iPad home from work. Like that might be the reinforcer.
Yeah, and don't sign up for something you can't do.
Exactly. Because having these things, implementing them, and they fail, that's harder to implement again. Right. Once it fails, right, the resistance to, the what's the word, like uptake, like taking on that skill is even higher, right? They talk about the resistance to extinction. That is one of them, right? If you've tried the extinction process before and it failed, then there is a resistance of extinction built in now, right? So these are things that we have to consider when making these behavior contracts or contingency contracts, right? It's basically taking a, it's a way to delay, like if you take a DTT or a discrete trial, right? And you got your A, you got your B, you got your C, and it's all immediate. They talk about the immediacy is what has the effect. When you're talking about a contingency contract, we're actually building in that delayed gratification, which is what is important because it allows you to get so much done over a week, right? But you have to have a measure to track it. Yeah. For you, when you were doing like getting your hours, you also had 2 at the same time. So you had 2 of them going because it was getting all your hours, but it was getting all of your hours and completing 12 research articles in a month. So you had 2 of those things on your
I just blocked that out of my brain because I was tired.
That was how you got them.
Yeah.
So, having that all present, that you have to have a way to track it, right? You put a little star on the calendar when you did an article. And that's how I know.
That was before I had kids because Lord knows we ain't got time for that now.
You can put a star on a calendar.
For all the articles?
No. Oh, reading articles, probably not. Star on a calendar, you could do that for something.
Maybe.
But anyways, digressed a little bit. But yeah, so there has to be a way to track it. And it's just an interesting and cool little way to have, the clients involved with it, having parents on board with it, and seeing some of that stuff go home. It's not something that we should just jump to right away, though. If we don't have this, kind of built up and have the buy-in from the client, it's not worth doing because if it fails, it's harder to do again later. So we got to make sure that we build up first, and that's how we can't just jump right into doing a behavior contract. We have to start with doing some other stuff first to establish that there is follow through with contingencies, establish that there is understanding, there are expectations. Putting all that together first will then help the contingency contract to be accepted. The other side of it too is that sometimes we go straight from, oh, this kid can do, trials very well. Let's move to the next level. And somebody will skip a contingency contract and go straight to self-evaluation. Not a good jump. Unless the kiddo can do it or the client can do it, it's not a good jump to do because now you're expecting them to, go without any systems, right? That's not going to maintain that skill very well.
Okay. So, is that where you would say contingency contracts would fall short, or is there a time where you've seen it go left and not work out and be a total flop?
I think I've seen both, right? I mean, seeing systems, self-evaluation charts, for instance, or self-evaluation systems. I've seen them fail
I feel like I'm already thinking of example.
So I've seen them fail because the kiddo doesn't have the ability to track. Right. So if they're supposed to evaluate over a certain period of time, if they can't track something, how are they going to evaluate it? Yeah. Right. Well, this is where a contingency contract could come in because you can help prompt them to track something. Yeah. Right. Which is showing them that, oh, this is important. This is how you do it. And then that's a step to self-evaluation. Self-evaluation, self-management, all the stuff to do with self, those are the end goals. Those are things that we want because that's what gets us through the day. Nobody's going to be beside somebody throughout their life with a token board saying, you did it.
Yeah, I also think that I've seen this gone wrong when the reinforcement isn't actually reinforcing. Because then it's there's just no motivation.
Yeah.
And
the BCBA or the parents just made it and didn't check in with the kid about it and said, this is what we're going to do, and nothing's rewarding for them.
Don't care.
Yeah, well, of course. So, I mean, it is possible, but all things can be taught, they can be maintained, they can be done the right way. But the thing that we don't have an abundance of is time.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't spend time wasting it.
Yeah.
That point blank. If we are wasting time by doing something too soon, or they don't have the prerequisite skills for it, we're setting them up to fail. That's it. And it's the same with us too.
I would say it's the same with anything. If we don't have the prerequisites for a lot of things.
Yeah. But
then it's just we can't work on it.
Yeah, when we're talking about using these systems on ourselves, right? There's a level of discipline and understanding of delayed gratification that is built in with it. And so if we didn't have that type of skill, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Whether you weren't locked into getting your hours at the time, or you're not locked into doing the exercises and stuff like that, you have to actually want it. So you have to see that going through the process of this skill or this behavior is going to benefit me in the future in some way.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, then contingency contract's not going to work.
I feel like we're both kind of naturally like hustlers. So I feel like we also like, as adults, seeing other adults, sometimes you're like, there's just the lack of motivation or like the lack of trying. It's just so cringe. Just talking about like real life examples, people that are like, oh yeah, I'm going to get this credential, or I'm going to get this, job, or I'm going to finish this, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
I'm gonna people.
Yeah. And then it's like 10 years later and you're like, but when? I mean, obviously there's a flip side to that too, or sometimes I think we do a little too much, but
Yeah.
I think that's like
knowledge is power.
It just kind of reminded me of that.
Goes too far.
Where it's like, it kind of reminded me of that, where it's like, if you're not motivated, and then it's like not something that's really gonna work for you.
Yeah. I mean, ABA is about that, right? Like, we're talking about altering or changing motivations or outcomes in order to produce a desired product or permanent product or skill or understanding that is going to help the individual in their current setting, their future settings, and with the current and future people in their lives. That is what we're doing, right? So in that, we are making adjustments. So that means that for us to be successful, we have to make adjustments, not only for our clients, but for ourselves too. We have to be able to be motivated by the future outcomes of those adjustments that we make.
Yeah.
That's kind of it.
Agreed.
That's what makes this so much fun. Because if you can't see the future, you're going to have a hard time.
I feel like contingency contracts too are like literally like when you start a job. Those are literally a perfect example of one that we've all signed. Because it's like, you will work this amount of hours, you will get paid this much. Yeah. And you don't get it right away.
Well, I mean, that's the part of contingent, right? Is like something has to happen in order for you to get something else.
Yep.
Right? And so that's where this comes in.
But I was just thinking, like, an example that everyone can resonate with would be like that. Like signing a contract for your job.
Yeah.
Boom.
Any contract really has things contingent upon it.
Ooh, do you think a marriage license or like getting married is a contingency contract?
No.
Because
I would say that marriage is contingent on the engagement. So the engagement ring would be the contract that you get to keep it if you fulfill by getting married.
Okay. Huh. Okay. I'm just kidding. No, that makes sense.
Right? Because like, if you don't get married,
give me that ring back.
Yeah, there's a contingency to that, to getting that ring. So I guess if you look at like a marriage license, that's
not
just
marriage license. I just mean more so the marriage itself, like, because you're signing. It's an exchange of like.
But what's the reward? Being married?
Being committed, or like having someone committed to living life with you. Is that a reach?
No, it's not a reach. That's what you're reinforced by, absolutely. But it comes down to the reward.
That's true.
So it can be.
Or it can be like, marry me. Like, you want to be married, so like in exchange, like back in the day, right? Like a bar, like when
dowel and all that.
There you go. Yeah. I've been watching Bridgerton, y'all. Like a dowry kind of situation where it's like, give me your daughter and I'll give you this money, like that. Well, I hate that. I hate that, but
But that still exists in a lot of cultures.
I know.
But yeah, I would also say for those who marry for money and things like that, that becomes like contingency contracts.
I was thinking well, I guess I'll marry you. Like, I'll take the money, I'll give, and then like in exchange, like I'll give you children.
Is this why we're here?
You just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Dang.
I'm just kidding. No, but we are in the same profession. I know, like, we're literally in the same profession.
We get paid with love from the families and kids that we serve.
Anyways, that was a little side note, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
just the license
this
itself. I
is-
don't.
Okay,
I don't
got
see
it.
it. But the ring would be is contingent. Keeping the ring is contingent upon getting
So
a
you
second
would've-
ring.
So you would have taken it back if I was like, actually,
Yeah, why?
you wouldn't have let me like keep it.
Why not?
for-
That is
I'm
money.
Like, ooh,
What?
jewelry.
Pawn shop.
That's funny. Okay. All right. Well, that was my last question.
What?
I was just curious.
Yeah, but here's what I'll also say about that. It's also really one-sided.
Why? You have a ring too.
But I wasn't given one as a promise.
Yeah.
You had to say yes.
and promise that I also.
Yeah, but I didn't get
I
engaged.
had to ask you too. Do you, Jordan,
Nah.
take
get out.
Melina?
That's at the, yeah, okay. That's the end. In terms of the engagement part of saying I will marry you, that part didn't exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that is our episode. Let me see. I want to ask you a question. Unless you have a question for me. Let me think of a question. Any movies that you're excited about that are coming out?
There was one actually, but I can't remember what it was. Right now, wasn't expecting that question.
You went to the movies recently, so you saw some commercials.
Yeah, but you said what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
That's
what
what I'm saying. I saw the commercial, and I
Right.
know there is. I just can't remember.
Oh, okay.
I do want to see A Quiet Place opening day, like
Ooh.
day one. Like I do want to see that. So whenever you're watching this is when it was recorded. But there was also like the Alien Romulus, I think is what it's called.
Oh, scary.
Seems interesting as well. So
Okay.
there's a couple. What about you?
I mean, we still have time, but I'm excited about Wicked.
That's not a movie.
It is literally coming out at the end of the year.
Oh yeah, it is actually. I saw this.
Silly
I
goose.
I remember seeing it. I was
I'm like,
but you were just talking about seeing Wicked. So
yeah, I'm also seeing it on
that's why I was like,
Broadway.
wait. So
Yeah.
that's where I was.
Yeah.
You're not seeing it on
I'm
Broadway.
excited
you're
to see
seeing it in LA.
Ari and everybody else.
Yeah. So yeah,
be
that
good.
movie's coming out.
It's gonna be so good. And there's 2 parts, I think. So I think the first part's coming out in the fall. No, in the winter.
You don't want to see it as a whole. Just wait for it to come out and see all 4 hours.
No.
Okay. As you wish.
Are you gonna see it with me, or do I need to see it with my siblings?
Will you be able to see it with me is a different question.
Why?
Because your siblings might be like, we're going to all go together.
Maybe.
So do I get in there first? I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, a wonderful week.
Thanks for tuning in. We
Yeah.
appreciate everyone that gives us a watch and a follow. Got any questions? Add them at the bottom.
And always feel free to message us on Instagram if you have anything that you want us to talk about, or if you have any questions.
Please do.
All right. See you later.
See you guys.